Are you serious? Get some coffee. We got volcanoes erupting. We got the threat of chemical weapons. Israel's shaking its fist. Mohammed Mursi in total power. And Tim Tebow's upset. Calm down. Something biblical is going on with the signs of the second coming of the Lord. A cup of coffee really would help. Are you serious? Yes, I am. Jesus saves. Well, the blizzard is just that. We know at least 6 people are dead from the snowstorms that tore across the heartland of America. And we know 3 people died from the tornado, the different tornadoes, about 20 tornadoes that hit down in the south. So it's been a tremendous winter storm blast. Came right through my backyard here in Indiana. Well, that's not the only place where severe weather's taking place. Reverend Gary got this to me, in Nicaragua, the San Cristobal volcano has erupted, and it is literally a sight to behold. Nicaraguan authorities have ordered the evacuation of several hundred people living near the San Cristobal volcano. Officials also declared that an amber alert also for a 5 square mile around the volcano, which spewing ash and gas on Tuesday. However, some 1,500 farmers are refusing to leave the area, according to the French news agencies. First Lady and government spokeswoman Rosario Murillo said that 15 eruptions have been recorded since Tuesday night. Since Christmas night. 15 eruptions have been recorded. The eruptions were small, but Mrs. Murillo said it was impossible to know for certain whether there would be larger ones that could put the population at risk. Obviously, the seismic activity there and the spewing of the fumes and the ash and the clouds and the smoke, and I've seen it. It's incredible what's happening down there. Now, she urges families living in the area to follow the evacuation routes as a precaution. The Nicaraguan army has been sent to rescue teams to the area. They've put teams out there to help people. Some communities are resisting efforts to persuade them to leave. People have not evacuated because we do not want to go and leave the area abandoned, they said. And they're afraid of thieves because you can't trust nobody. Isn't it sad? That's what's going on in Nicaragua. Not only Nicaragua do we have issues, but over in the Middle East, Benjamin Netanyahu, I want to thank Penny for getting this article to me, but Benjamin Netanyahu has visited Jordan with plans to destroy the Syrian chemical weapons. Now we know that President Assad has used chemical weapons on the rebels and some of the civilians. We also know that he bombed civilians, women and children mainly, standing in a bread line at a bakery, killing over 200 of them. We have video, and you can watch my videos that were on Christmas Eve videos of the Syrians being gassed, and they're gapping for oxygen on oxygen mask, and they were hurting, heaving, sick. Well, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is not going to tolerate it. He recently held a top secret talks in Jordan regarding the possible methods for destroying Syria's sizable chemical weapons stockpiles, including airstrikes or ground assault. But so far, Amman, Jordan, is reluctant to put its weight behind such an action. Unnamed senior Israeli officials confirmed the visit took place yesterday, December 26, 2012, but would not give any other details according to Israeli radio. The visit was the first reported by the pan-Arab newspaper Al-Quds Al-Arabi. So, citing an anonymous source, the paper said the Israelis suggested precision strike on President Assad's chemical arsenals, but that the idea was mixed due to potentially large number of civilian Syrian casualties, as well as the threat to the environment. So, there's some disagreement, but Netanyahu wants to get it done. Also, Penny got another great article to me that has to do with Mohammed Mursi. Now, you do know that the second Constitution draft was voted on and passed. by 64% of the population, the Egyptians have voted for a new constitution which ultimately gives Mohammed Mursi absolute power. This constitution that was adopted by the Egyptian people basically creates Sharia law and gives Mohammed Mursi ultimate, extreme, and absolute constitutional powers greater than those of Adolf Hitler. That doesn't mean he's going to use those powers like Hitler, but he definitely has them. Well, the Bible says in Isaiah chapter 19, verses 1 through 4, that Egypt would have this uprising. They would steal idols. God would move in the midst. Egyptians would fight against each other, brother against brother, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. And it then says a fierce king, a cruel lord, would take over Egypt and would destroy the council, which we know Mursi has done. So he has fulfilled everything about Isaiah chapter 19, verses 1 through 4. Mohammed Mursi is the fierce king. Well, just like in my book, Mark of the Beast, RFID, I have Mohammed Mursi as a key player in the end-time apocalyptic scenario. Now, Egypt's Mohammed Mursi calls for dialogue after signing his constitution that limits dialogue. Okay, so as much of the world was celebrating Christmas, Egypt's new Muslim Brotherhood president, Mohammed Mursi, was signing his country's new constitution, which is based on Sharia law. Now, they won't say that, but of course it is. As such, any non-Muslim has officially been subjugated to Muslim fundamentalists. But relax, Mohammed Mursi wants some dialogue now. Oh, that's nice. Dialogue. Mohammed Mursi and dialogue? Somehow that doesn't seem to fit in the same sentence. But President Mohammed Mursi has congratulated the Egyptians for endorsing a new constitution, urging all parties to join him in the national dialogue. In a TV address to the nation, Mr. Mursi said that the economy was a priority and that changes to the cabinet would be made if necessary. In other words, I'm getting ready to fire the cabinet, set up a different economic system. 64% of the people backed the Constitution in the controversial referendum. But opponents say that the document is too Islamic and have rejected the call for dialogue as lacking seriousness. He doesn't care about dialogue. He just wants you to sit down and talk to him so he can tell you how it's going to be. Christians will be persecuted. Freedom of speech will be limited. Financial cash flow will flow to the government and trickle down. And Sharia law will be implemented. This is the fierce king, the cruel Lord. That is exactly how he's going to rule Egypt. And Tim Tebow, I know what you're thinking, Paul, that's football. This isn't about football. Tim Tebow has been persecuted for being a Christian. He's been sidelined, set on the bench, and whoever heard of a quarterback getting 2 of his ribs broken in practice? I mean, every quarterback I've ever seen wears a red vest, red shirt. You better not touch him. Matter of fact, Roger Goodell has changed the rules so much in the NFL, you better not touch a quarterback in the game. So how does Tim Tebow get his ribs broke by his own teammates? Why is the coach withheld him from the playing field? Even after the starter, Mark Sanchez, has one of the most miserable seasons in history, instead of going to the backup quarterback, Tim Tebow, they skip over him to the third stringer, and the Jets' seasons went from bad to worse to ugly? Well, Tebow wants out, and there is criticism that he has quit on the team. Tebow says, I haven't quit. I've never quit in my life. I'll never quit on the team. But it's hard to do anything for the team when you're never in the game. I just want to play quarterback. And I love everybody. Rex Ryan just doesn't understand him. Maybe it's because Rex Ryan, maybe it's because the Jets don't understand what it means to have integrity, to be a Christian, to keep a moral standard in a league full of guns and shootings and murder and thugs. Why is the only guy standing up, not the only one, but one of the few, for Christ, being thrown under the bus in the Big Apple? Anyway, it looks like Tebow's going on to Jacksonville, his hometown, where he won his high school state title and 2 national titles and a Heisman Trophy for Florida University. I think in Jacksonville at the Jaguars, he'll find a home. Give your life to Jesus Christ. We're running out of time.